I know this is called the choker and all, but it's low-key actually choking me. Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be doing the school days book tag. So, as I said, we are going to be doing the school days book tag. I was tagged to do this by Sunny Luca, and I'll put a link to her video right over here. I believe the creator of this tag was What Victoria Read, and I'll put a link to that video in the description down below. Definitely go check both of those out. This tag actually has two separate sections. The first one is like the different times of day, and you're supposed to do all of those, and then the next section is different subjects that you would have in school, and you're either supposed to answer the questions for your favorite subjects or just the questions that really appeal to you, which is more what I'm doing. So let's dive right in. First up, the time of day questions. First bell, tell us about the book that first got you into reading. Okay, so long ago when I was a wee lass, I don't know why I just suddenly became Scottish, my favorite books were probably either Junie B. Jones or Geronimo Stilton. Let's be real here, the Geronimo Stiltons were definitely the start of my love of mysteries and thrillers. Not really surprised by that. Apparently now he actually has fantasy books also. I actually got one of those for my niece for Christmas last year, and yeah, that was something really cool. Maybe if I had those when I was younger, I'd be more of a fantasy reader now. Next question. Break time. Which book have you most recently had to take a break from or DNF? I have actually DNF'd one book this month already, and that was Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey. This is the second book in her Hot and Hammered series, which is the series for the Sugar and Spice book club this quarter of the year. Unfortunately, I just don't think Tessa Bailey and I really have the same interests in men, because this is the second of her books I have read where the male main character is incredibly alpha male, hyper masculine, super don't talk, very jealous, kind of controlling, and personally not my thing. Could not get into it. Because of that, I just had a very hard time connecting with the male perspective. And then even on top of that, I don't know, just her plots don't really appeal to me all that much, which is a big shame because this one was the second chance romance trope, and I do appreciate that trope. I just wasn't crazy about how it was being handled here. Probably again because the main male character just can't talk, he can't speak his feelings, and you know, that's kind of important in relationships. I do know Tessa Bailey is a pretty big romance author, so that's great for other people, but unfortunately she is just not for me. Next question. Lunchtime. Tell us about your favorite book that features food. So I had a very hard time trying to think of one, honestly, but then I realized, wow, can't believe this didn't come to me sooner. Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu. Biddy here is a big baker. He bakes when he's stressed, and honestly, reading this graphic novel through the first time made me so hungry. He talks about the different pies and the muffins and the cupcakes. He makes his own jams, and y'all, it's a good thing I didn't live near a bakery, because good lord, I would have lost a lot of money. Just thought about it. I'm supposed to be rereading these here soon, and I recently found out about a new cookie shop down the street. That could be a problem. Next question. Final bell. Which book have you most recently finished reading? Well, I quite literally finished 20 minutes ago Wolfsong by TJ Klune, and Paige tried to warn me that this was going to be angsty. I still wasn't prepared. I cried probably north of 10 times while reading this. Not like full out cried, but definitely I had tears in my eyes more than once. Quite often. It was a lot. I stayed up until 2 a.m. reading because I was waiting for a specific scene to happen. And when it finally did, I was so happy that I was like, okay, I could finish this book, but I have to go to work tomorrow, so I need to go to bed. Next question. Homework. What was the last nonfiction book that you read and enjoyed? That was All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. This is a memoir / manifesto that is actually geared towards the YA audience. But this book is George M. Johnson's experiences growing up and their struggles with trying to figure out their own identity, trying to become comfortable in their gender and their sexuality, trying to find a support system in both their family and their friend group. It was a very powerful read. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend this. It had me tearing up as well. Any chapter revolving around George M. Johnson's family, just, I was gone. I was so invested, but at the same time, I knew I was probably gonna cry again. It was such a good book. I really think more people need to read this. It's been widely talked about, but it needs so much love. So good. Final question for times of day. Staff room. Tell us about a book that you go to when you need to take a breath. Fanfiction? Honestly, or webcomics. One of those, usually. I don't know why. Anytime I do that, I don't want to pick up a physical book. I want to read something on my phone. So I have all of those easily accessible. All right, so next let's dive into the subject prompts. First up, English. Tell us about one book you studied at school and recommend one book that you would like to add to the curriculum. One of these I actually studied in college, and that was for my Villains, Vigilantes, and Antiheroes class, which is still probably my favorite class I've ever taken, and that was V for Vendetta by Alan Moore. This is probably one of the grittiest graphic novels I've ever read. I'd seen the movie, but I adored the story so much more in this format. The art is very dark and noir. Shockingly, I actually very much enjoyed the not quite dystopian society, but basically dystopian society that is taking place in this, and the character of V is just fascinating. He was the perfect character to dive into looking at anti-heroes. Yes, what he is trying to do for the government is good for the people. Yes, he is also not a great guy. Let's be honest here. Book I would want to add to curriculum, however, I would specifically go for Moxie by Jennifer Matthew, and I would actually say to add this to either middle school, like 8th grade, or high school reading list. Loved this book when I read it in college. It is about a young girl who goes to school in a small town in Texas where all of the boys get away with plenty of sexist crap, often because they are in some kind of a sport in retaliation, but also trying to make the school pay more attention to these issues. Vivian here decides to make a feminist zine and it starts passing it out to all of the girls at school. I adored this book. It is fascinating. It showcases the importance of showing people feminism from a young age and how it can really affect them throughout their life. It's really important to see the intersectionality that is taken in this story. I do wish there was more of it, but with that being said, I appreciate that it was handled there. I also really liked the fact that this actually acknowledged that men are needed in feminism as well. One of the biggest sexist topics at the school is the dress code, and as someone who went to high school in Texas and could not wear what I am wearing right now or shorts, but guys could, made me furious. So yes, I believe this book should be put on every single reading list, whether it be in middle school or high school, because it really needs to showcase the importance of feminism to women and men. Next question. Maths. How do you rate your books? If you had asked me this a good few months ago, I would have said it was incredibly subjective. It was very much based on my entertainment and whether I had a visceral reaction to the story or not. If I laughed or cried, I often would give a book 5 stars. However, since being on BookTube, I realized I need to be more objective in my ratings so I can give a more accurate representation of the story, and have started using the Cawpile system. I can't remember who created it, but I will put a link to their video in the description down below if you're interested in checking it out. Cawpile stands for characters, atmosphere, writing, plot, intrigue, logic, and entertainment. So I give each of these a score from 1 to 5, and then I average them all out to get an official rating. Looking back, since I started doing this, I do think my ratings are more accurate to my feelings because I take the time to think about them a lot more and break them down piece by piece to figure out what parts of this that I really enjoy, what parts were lacking, and how can I reflect that in my actual rating. Water break. Geography. Describe a book that has a strong sense of place or a great world building. Are y'all even surprised anymore when I bring this up? Sands of Aralia, Hafsa Faisal. This is based on ancient Arabia. It has an entire world and a fantastic history that goes back 100 years, which then affects the events in these books. The magic system's fascinating. The way the atmosphere is created. There's also an absolutely beautiful map, and you get to follow along as the characters go to all of these places, each one being distinct from the others, and it's great. Highly recommend this series if you haven't heard me talk about it prior. Next question. PE, show us the biggest book on your TBR. Technically speaking, I think it's actually The Count of Monte Cristo, and being completely honest here, I don't know if I'm ever gonna read that. It's over 1,000 pages. I'm scared of big books, and it's a classic. Translated, very daunting to me. After that, however, is Helter Skelter by Vincent Bugliosi, and this is a true crime story following the Manson murders. If you don't know, I'm a giant true crime fan. I do want to read this eventually. I got it in my little free library book haul, but I don't know when I'm gonna get to it. She chunky. Last question. Art, show us 3 books that you think have the best covers. Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I forgot I was answering this one, so these are 2 of them right here. I don't feel like going to get to another one. Alright y'all, so that is it. Unfortunately, I did not prepare, so I don't have anyone to tag, but I will put some people in the description down below, or you, if you liked this tag, do it and let me know in the comments down below. I will go check it out. As always, thank you so much for coming to my channel today, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Bye!